Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a vampire horror film, 30 Days of Night, Part 2, Dark Days. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie picks up from the ending of the previous episode, where the lead hero, Eben, willingly turned into a vampire and sacrificed himself in order to save his wife, Babe. As she hugs Eben's burnt corpse without hormone let go, Babe tells us that she never wanted a war, but rather, she just wanted to spread the word about the vampire invasion of her town in Alaska. Babe explains that 98 people were savagely killed by the vampires that took over her town during their 30 Days of Night, which is a phenomenon that occurs once a year. Unfortunately, despite Babe's best efforts to expose the deadly vampires, nobody believed her and simply rebuilt the town, thinking that all the damage was because of an oil spill. This makes Babe upset, but she doesn't have a choice other than to accept her new way of life without Eben. Babe has a nightmare about the zombies and wakes up instantly. She is still haunted by the memories of her trauma and takes some pills to calm herself down. She leaves her room, and we see a note from a peeping guy named Tom that states the vampires have shifted to Los Angeles. Now we see Babe in Los Angeles, where she is hosting a talk in front of an audience. She tries to make them understand what happened in her town, but everyone laughs their shit off when she mentions the vampires. Babe was expecting this kind of reception, but she isn't here to play around. Babe says that there are UV lights that have been installed at the auditorium, and they have the same wavelength as the sun's rays. This means that any vampires attending her talk will be burnt to a crisp. We see some people in black shades, who are most definitely confirmed to be vampires, but they can't afford to raise any suspicion. The humans still don't believe Babe's sexy but smelly bullshit, so she starts the UV lights immediately. The vampires are not only blinded by the lights, but they also start to burn in front of the audience, thus causing immense panic and chaos, while Babe watches everyone with a victorious stare. She walks away from the scene, but gets arrested by the cops almost immediately. Now a sick cop named Sicko confronts Babe using his sick tongue, claiming that she is only suffering from the trauma of losing her husband. Basically, Sicko is trying to convince Babe that she pulled off an elaborate hoax, but she refuses to step away from her mission. Sicko changes his tone and threatens Babe, but knows that he can't do anything reckless. Sicko also says the vampire bodies at the auditorium have already been disposed of, which implies that he's siding with the vampires. With no evidence on her side, Babe is driven back to her motel, and she remembers her husband once more. Babe watches a nasty couple getting freaky as she enters her room and reminisces about her good hormone days. However, she is shocked to find 3 people in the room waiting for her. They include the team leader, a tough woman called Lady Bro, and a muscular man named Big G, all of whom have lost their loved ones to the vampires. Nobody believes their vampire stories either, which is why they have come together as vampire hunters. It turns out that Leader and his team are working with the peeping guy Tom, who has told them to recruit Babe. Leader says that he wants to use Babe's 30 days of vampire experience as a weapon to hunt down the remaining vampires and end their race for good. She is hesitant at first, so Lady Bro goes out of the room for a breather. She finds a peeping vampire spying on the team, so she rushes back inside and alerts the others. Leader and Big G quickly spring into action and shoot down the vampire with brutal intent. Babe is a bit shaken up by this, but has no choice but to join the vampire hunters for survival. She goes with them to meet Tom, and Leader gives her a gun. Babe mentions Sicko and learns that he's not a vampire, but a bug eater, also known as a wannabe. These people are humans that follow and obey the vampire queen, Lilith, so that she can grant them immortality. It seems that Sicko wants Lilith's help because he wants to cure his sickness. Leader explains that he and his team are after Lilith because she leads the whole vampire organization, and her fall will signal the end of the vampires. Lady Bro is not confident in Babe because she thinks she's a liability, but Leader decides to introduce her to Tom because he had requested for her and possibly wants to peep at her. Meanwhile, Sicko investigates the nasty couple who have come across the brutally shot vampire. Later, Babe is taken to meet Tom, who is actually revealed to be a vampire. She immediately draws her gun, but he says that he's not like the other vampires and prefers to be called a zombie. Basically, Tom was superficially wounded and he was able to hold on to his humanity. This is why he is helping Leader's team and has also been writing letters to Babe. When asked about how he feeds, Tom reveals that he simply drinks diabetic blood from hospital, which Big G finds disgusting. Tom shows Babe a collection of weapons and says that the only way to get revenge is by force. The team narrates their plan to infiltrate Lilith's lair and take her down, but Babe doesn't seem impressed. Big G reasons that besides his big muscles, their big guns will be more than enough for the mission, and Leader states that his team has taken down vampire nests before. However, Lilith most definitely has backup with her, so it won't be as easy as the group thinks. Leader says that he needs Babe to help his team corner Lilith, but she never said she was going to be a part of this. So she walks away, much to Lady Bro's disappointment. Meanwhile, Sicko meets Lilith and her vampire slave, who is giving her a bloody bath in her tub. He gives Lilith an update on Babe, but she is not convinced by his words, and uses her vampire language to command the other vampires to smack him down. Meanwhile, Leader sits down with Babe for a smoke and asks if she's going back to Alaska. Babe doesn't want to risk the vampires following her back to her people, and Leader can empathize with her. He states how the vampires invaded his home and took his daughter away from him. Nobody believed him, and even his wife left him, which is why he formed a team with Big G and Lady Bro. Babe is inspired by Leader's story, so she decides to help him with Lilith. Now, the team proceeds with their mission, and they reach the suspected hideout spot. Babe loads up on guns in a bossy fashion, and the team breaks into the hideout, although Big G spills some blood in the process. The dark passage adds to the tension as the team slowly moves forward with their weapons. Lady Bro starts to show some fear because they are far away from the light, but the men say they must carry on. The team comes across a recently decapitated victim, and Lady Bro starts feeling uneasy. This leads the team to have an argument, and then an army of vampires shows up. They kick off a brutal shootout sequence, and Big G gets bitten in his muscles by one of the vampires. The going gets tough, and it turns Lady Bro into a lady chicken, so she runs away as fast as a chicken riding a Tesla bike. Leader takes Big G with him, and Babe follows them, but keeps shooting at the vampires. Lady Bro finds more vampires on the way, so she takes a detour and leads the team into a room. Big G starts turning into a vampire, so Leader tries to convince him to stay strong like Tom. Unfortunately, despite his best efforts, Big G transitions to the dark side and attacks Leader without mercy. Eventually, Babe has to smash his face into onion pieces using a cinder block and scolds Leader for being weak. The team is low on ammo, and they have also lost Big G, so Babe suggests waiting till it's dark because that's when the vampires go out to hunt. Lady Bro continues to lose her mind, so Babe tells her to calm down her chicken voice, otherwise she will get another one of them killed. This makes Lady Bro upset, so she threatens her with a gun, but Babe says that she would prefer to meet Jesus than stick around with the vampires. Leader calms everyone down and says he is willing to wait till dark. After sunset, Leader checks through the peephole like a peeping Tom and finds a vampire. Luckily, it's actually Tom, and he leads the others to an exit. He smells something suspicious, and then a bald vampire attacks the team. He gets shot down, and Babe is about to slash off his bald head. But then, she comes up with an idea. The team uses Babe's UV lights to torture the bald vampire for information on Lilith, but he remains stubborn. Meanwhile, the nasty couple is harassed by Lilith as she pulls out the tooth of the boyfriend, and Tom massages him in front of his girlfriend. Tom uses his vampire language and learns that the next attack is going to happen in Alaska because the 30 days of night will begin in 3 days. The team decides to act fast, and they go to the vampire hideout, hoping to catch Lilith there. Babe learns that Lady Bro has a lot of C4 explosives in her bag, so she attaches them to the entrance. This is because Babe is planning to use the explosives to blow up the hideout and end the vampires when the sun rises. As the team waits for the sun, Leader tells Babe that he had initially planned to end himself after getting rid of Lilith. However, he doesn't think that way now, possibly because of his affection for Babe. The team enters the hideout after sunrise, and they find some human hostages. Leader frees one of them who is still alive, but she reveals that the vampires are everywhere. Suddenly, Lady Bro gets attacked, and she loses the detonator to her explosives. An army of vampires attacks the team, and a shootout follows, but there are too many of them. Babe shoots at the roof to allow light to pass, and then she finds the detonator. Babe manages to grab it and blows up the hideout to allow light to pass and burn the vampires. While passed out, Babe remembers her husband and wakes up soon after. She is injured, so Leader offers to help, but she acts distant. The team takes the surviving hostage to safety, but Lilith doesn't seem to be among the vampire victims. Now, Leader fixes Babe's injuries and says that they need information from the hostage, although she is still in shock. Babe tells Leader that she has hormone feelings for him, so they tongue massage for a bit. After that, they engage in a hormone yoga session for stress relief and finish it 2 minutes later. Meanwhile, Sicko tells Lilith that Tom is helping the humans, and he knows where they are hiding. Lilith tells Sicko to take care of it, but his sickness is growing worse, so he asks for vampire powers. Lilith needs Sicko to pass her vampire exam, so he bites and kills the girlfriend of the nasty couple. This pleases Lilith, so she gives Sicko her blood to turn him into a vampire. Babe questions the hostage and learns about a ship where others like herself are being drained by the vampires for their blood. Lilith also seems to be on this ship, but then the team hears some aggressive knocking. Tom checks it out by peeping at the peephole, but gets shot in his peeping eye, and the culprit is revealed to be Vampire Sicko. He attacks the team, but they manage to escape after Leader shoots him down. Vampire Sicko survives the shot, and then we see the team reaching the ship thanks to the hostage's guidance. Babe wants to destroy the vampire army, so she tells the hostage to leave, but Leader says this is a death wish. Babe doesn't care because she wants to avenge her husband, so she leads the team into the ship. Here, they see a ceremony and learn that the burnt vampires can come back to life by using human blood, but only if they have their heads. This is bad news, and it only gets worse when the ship sets sail. Lady Bro wants to leave right now, but Babe and Leader say they must stop the vampires from reaching Alaska. As the team explores the ship, they see multiple humans who are being harvested for blood. An old lady wakes up and asks Lady Bro to end her, but she continues to cluck like a lady chicken. The team moves forward, but they get spotted by a vampire. They eventually find the ship's captain and threaten him to turn it around, but he says that his family is being held hostage, which is why he doesn't have a choice. That's when Lady Bro gets abducted by some vampires, and she accidentally shoots the captain amidst the confusion. Leader and Babe chase after her, but find vampires feasting on Lady Bro, so Leader ends her chicken life with a headshot. Vampire Sicko shows up with an army of vampires, and there aren't enough bullets, so Babe and Leader get apprehended. Lilith shows up to flex her vampire figure and tells the vampires to bleed out the humans, so they roar in unison. Vampire Sicko carries out the honors and acts creepy with Babe. He slashes Leader and drains him, after which Babe decides to fight him with her legs. A tense battle follows, and Babe uses Vampire Sicko's overconfidence against him. This allows her to slash his head off with an axe, and then she frees Leader. Afterward, Babe and Leader break into the control room and destroy everything, which finally makes the ship stop. Unfortunately, Lilith shows up and kills Leader with a brutal bite. She then attacks Babe, and a tense encounter follows. Babe is taunted about losing her husband, but she finds Lilith's custom-made bathtub, so she hides inside it and places her blood on the ceiling pipes to create a distraction. Babe's plan works, and she manages to slash off Lilith's head with ease. The other vampires arrive, but they allow Babe to pass, because she has defeated their queen. Babe can allow the ship to drift into the ocean, but she calls the Coast Guard for help. Nobody talks about what happened on the ship, and then Babe retrieves her husband's burnt body from his grave in Alaska. She then uses her blood to revive him, but faints after multiple attempts. Babe wakes up and sees Eben in front of her, finally revived. However, the movie ends with Eben biting Babe's sexy body while she hugs him, because of his vampire instincts. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.